So let's talk about that now. Fold3 how to remove the big screen. First, we need to remove the small screen and the back cover, because it has handwritten lines. So we're gonna take both back covers off. Well, the first step is to remove the screen. Heat up the small screen. There's something wrong with this shaft. To clean the shaft, remove the small screen first. Heat the small screen at 99 degrees for 1 minute. It'll be ready to go in a minute. Make sure you heat it up properly. If you can't heat it up, this screen is not easy to remove. The temperature's almost up. Let's remove the screen first. Fix the little screen. The little screen holds us in alcohol. Pry the alcohol. Many people don't know how to fix this. Just pry and insert a release film. Feel the softness. What's soft is glue. You don't want to stick it in the back. Be careful of that. You want to feel sticky, soft. With the alcohol, pull this double-sided tape away from this side tape. The resistance will be even. Keep the blades in after you bring the corners in. Cut the double-sided tape off the side. It's the same up there. Same goes for the camera holes. Come straight over. Do not insert the wrong layer. Don't go too deep. Let's go 3 to 5 millimeters. The screen comes down after 5 millimeters. This is the original. Let's pry this clasp for him. Take these tweezers and snap them straight up. This clasp must be pry if you don't loosen the screws. You can't pry without trying. And take this little screen off. And give it some protection from the camera. Then we can remove the back cover. It's just heating up the back lid. We'll just do it. Move the camera hole around a little bit. Don't make the camera too hot for it, because it has a metal back cover. A little easier to dismantle. Put in a small amount evenly. Don't go too deep. The diaphragm is still 3 to 5 millimeters. Combine the alcohol. Keep up with the alcohol. Okay, don't insert the diaphragm too deep. Because some models have screens, it's easy to get these wires when you're taking them apart. It's easy to get to these lines. This is more dangerous. So we need to be careful with the wiring. We don't need a heating table right now. Let's just remove all the screws from the back cover. We'll reheat the screen after we are done. This model is a little more difficult to remove the larger screen. This is the membrane we put on earlier. The membrane is not tearing now. Just tear it off later. This is the time to remove the screws. After you remove the screws, let's clean the shaft again. The screws must be removed from the wiring. If this screw stays in place, it has a handwriting line in this position. And here's this one right here is a handwritten wire. Snap it open. The display line is down here. That's when the camera sticker fell off. Let's put a new sticker on it. So this is the display wire. Let's open the display bar. Then switch off the battery. And then we can take this side. It's a camera with a motherboard. We also got easy tear stickers. Put this camera on it. Let's take this little module off of it first. It's the plastic clasp are two modules. Unbutton the battery. This place is glued. And then this is where the clasp is on the bottom. Let's take this charging cable off of it. Take this wireless charge off of it. Over here is a cable for wireless charging. There's glue here. Put some alcohol in it and tear it off. The small buttons of these two rows are fastened at the bottom. It doesn't really help, does it? Flip it over and flip the bottom two screws. This is a clip that goes right on top of it. This wiring is just a cable from this USB port. This is the cable for the charger. This line is our handwritten line. There are two lines of handwriting. These are the two lines. This is the display line over here. Snap open this handwriting cable. This screen if the pivot is a little tricky to change the case. That's a lot of stuff to take down. Well, if we're gonna get rid of this cable, we're gonna have to remove the motherboard. So it's gonna be a little more difficult to disassemble. These two lines are rotating shaft lines. The two lines connecting the left and right boards. A lot of people have no sound or abnormal display. These are the two lines that need to be replaced. Pay attention to this problem. Let's remove the motherboard screws. This screw feels like the screws on the upper and lower plates. Let's not remove these two screws. Remove one first. There's glue on the motherboard somewhere. Let's take these two screws off first. These two screws should be the screws of the upper and lower plates. The camera is wired up through the bottom here. Let's remove the front first. This little board will make it easier. It's this board that's going in this direction. It's a double deck, it needs to be light. It has 3 buttons in it. It's stuck to this frame. The camera is kind of jammed here. I wonder if there's glue on the bottom. No alcohol in the camera hole. These buckles are in this position. Samsung's motherboard design is relatively simple. This line is open. All three lines are fine. Then we can take this big screen off. The large screen needs to be heated when it is removed. I'm just gonna take the big screen out now. Let's bring this thing forward a little bit. Give it a place. That's when it's going to heat up. After we know where the screen lines are, you know how to do it. So let's put the screen up and heat it up. Line it up here. We put the screen on the heating table. Monolithic heating. Let's warm it up for 2 minutes. And we're gonna take it straight from our gauge. Is this double-sided tape. Here's a double-sided tape. Double-sided tape over here and double-sided tape over here. There's a wire in this place. There's a big line in the middle of this one. There's a line in this place. Remember where these three lines are. And then take down this screen. We're still on the white gas. Nothing else is needed. Make sure the fillers stick to the frame. Take out our gauge. It's still a little warm. Just plug it in. It has a white double-sided tape. Just plug it in and fill it with white oil. This one's wider at the top, too. It's gonna go in 1.5 centimeters. This screen has an iron back. So when you took it down, don't worry too much. It doesn't usually break. That's about Samsung's screen. It has a strong back plate. Just come straight down here. There's a line in the middle of this screen. Look at that. I'm gonna cut the glue off this side. After all the glue is cut, let's pay a little attention to where that line is. Once you get to this position, this part is almost ready to open. See if the magnet is holding it. Let's take a look at the wiring on the back. Take a look at the back. Don't put it against the frame. Hide it in this spot. It's easier to get a little later. This wire is hidden over here, too. Just walk a little easier. Let's clamp it down again. When you clamp it, just pull this side up. It's got the magnet in place to pick it up. Put some liquid in there and some white oil. It's okay to be bold. There's some double-sided tape in here. Just heat it up with alcohol and flip it. Just lift the alcohol. It just opens. Big double-sided tape over here. Double-sided tape in the middle. There's nothing wrong with the placement of the wires. Just keep pumping a little white oil. Make sure you remember where the wiring is. And then we're gonna lift it up a little bit. It's got protective iron. Don't confuse the layers. If you're afraid of getting the wrong level, you can stick the magnet over here. Go easy on the white gas. Make sure you can go around like this. Cut this double-sided tape under here for it. Then at this time, white electric oil into the pump. The double-sided tape for this place. Be careful when you do it. The double-sided tape over here has a line in it. Don't cross out the lines. Make a shallow stroke when you do it. Watch this place. And then you can keep filling it with white oil. And then slowly lift it up. It hit the motherboard. There's no problem with calling anything. If you don't use enough potions, this screen is hard to remove. All that's left is a strip of glue where the lines are. So I use a lot of potions. Alright, the buttons on this side are out. All that's left is a double-sided tape on the wire. Just put some more liquid in there. A little potion if it doesn't get better. Make a gentle stroke of the ruler. There's a glue on the bottom line. And just keep your strength and pull it away. We can tilt it a little bit on its side. Let the potion get in a little better. It's okay to be bold. It just hit the wire and it's fine. So don't worry about that. If it doesn't get up in this corner, let's give it a gentle stroke with this gauge. This glue is a little sticky. I'm getting up right here. The glue down here can be sticky sometimes. Make a slight stroke with the filler stick. The glue in the wearing position is still sticky. This side is up. It's got a magnet. It's gonna hold it. Look, everybody. This is a double-sided tape. It's a double-sided tape stuck under the wire. So this double-sided tape is gonna be a little harder to break. Just keep that in mind. Portion you dare to hit it doesn't matter. Remember these lines. This line and this line. You know, this place is full of white gas. It doesn't matter, just open it. There's no problem at all. Okay, the big screen has been removed. And then we'll look at it. How do I change the shaft and these lines? What if this glue doesn't break? If this glue is still sticky, you can keep it and use it again. If the glue has already been destroyed, then we'll replace it with new glue. When this big screen comes down, the heating table is not needed for the time being.